Brought to you by International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 825.
You know, in the wake of the Orlando terrorist attack, the worst mass shooting in American history, House Democrats staged a rare takeover of the House chamber in an effort to force the Republican leadership to allow a vote on legislation that would ban suspected terrorists from buying a weapon. Joining us now to talk about that event and about what he calls common sense gun laws is Congressman Donald Payne, Jr. of New Jersey's 10th Congressional District. Congressman, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
So, Congressman, after mass shootings in the past, a lot of talk about sensible gun laws, but it never adds up to anything. Is this going to be different now?
Well, we hope so. You know, the protest that we staged last week was just to request a vote. We feel that our rights as members of Congress to call for a vote have been violated. And it wasn't whether you were supporting it or not supporting it. The issue was bringing it to a vote. 90% of the American people have said they're for sensible gun reform. Let's put it to a vote.
All right, but just a couple of things on that. You know, the Democrats play the same game when they're in control. If they don't want something voted on, even if the vast majority of the other side or even of the population want it, they won't hold the vote either. You know that. And secondly, what exactly is the legislation that you were hoping to have a vote on?
Well, we were looking at H.R. 1076, No Fly, No Buy, which was authored by Peter King from New York, and it would allow people on the no-fly terrorist list the inability to purchase firearms in the United States.
Wouldn't post it. Ryan wouldn't post it.
Would not post.
What was his reason?
You'd have to ask him. There's no.
Was there a stated
he must have given you a reason.
There's no real reason, no.
Well, maybe the reason is that that legislation would not have stopped Omar Mateen from killing the people in Orlando. He wasn't on a no-fly list,
right.
Although he was interviewed twice by the FBI and allowed to move on.
Well, let's say this: you can't play it both ways. The FBI has been criticized because of him, because being interviewed and then allowed to go, but as an American citizen, they did their due diligence and could not corroborate anything, so they let him go. You can't criticize him for letting him go, but then say you don't want people on this list. So you can't have it both ways. They did what they were supposed to do, and they're being criticized for it. And on the other hand, they're saying that you don't want people to be subject to this. You can't have it both ways.
Congressman, I'm curious about something. After these horrific events, by the way, we're doing this program as we move into July of the summer of 2016. This program will be seen a little bit after that. We hope we're still talking about just at Orlando
right.
and nothing else in terms of horrific event. If not this event, if not the other horrific event involving young children, dozens of children
Absolutely.
being killed, what do you believe it would take to create, sensible in quotes, some change in our gun laws in this nation?
After Newtown, I was just totally dejected. If you cannot act after what must have been a horrific room to walk into, to see those little children lying all over that room, slaughtered, and there was no action other than a moment of silence on the floor of Congress, I became very concerned about the tenor in this country.
So, you and your colleagues do what you did, led by you and John Lewis, a civil rights icon in this nation, with Dr. King. So say nothing happens. Say the Republicans in control do not allow for a vote. What happens between the Democrats and Republicans after this in terms of getting anything that is meaningful done after this? Because it seemed like there's a lot of genuine vitriol and anger after this. Am I miscalculating that from watching the broadcast?
No, after Newtown, I proposed a gun buyback program that you probably don't even know about because it never saw the light of day because the Republican leadership or lack of leadership in the Congress would not allow it to see the light of day. There have been so many proposals put forth to try to deal with this issue that the NRA and the leadership in the House have not let happen.
But you can't blame it. I'm sorry for interrupting, Congressman. You can't blame the NRA. They don't have a vote in Congress.
They don't have a vote in Congress, but they support many of the members of Congress that are
Do they
against
control
all
them?
this. I would think so. It's almost a form of slavery that they kowtow to this
Make that case.
organization. Well, I mean, they give them a lot of money to be successful in their races, and obviously they have some control over them because they do not allow them to vote or bring these issues up.
But Congressman, do you think that's the only reason? Maybe some of these congressmen actually ideologically agree with the NRA.
Well, okay,
don't they?
That's fine. But if 90% of the people, we are the House of Representatives, we're the people's house. If the majority of the people in your district are saying this is something they can live with, you are supposed to vote the way they want you to vote. You're supposed to at least entertain it. They won't even entertain it. We're asking for a vote. We're not asking them to vote for it. If you want to be against it, vote against it, but put it on record. And that's what a lot of them are concerned about doing, having it on record.
What about, if they can't pass the no-fly zone, no-buy law, I guess this is maybe one bridge too far, but assault weapons. What do your colleagues, how do your colleagues defend their support for letting anybody buy an assault weapon, which is obviously for assault?
Well, they once again go to the Second Amendment that says that, you have the right to bear arms. Now, when the fathers of this country put that amendment in, it was, we were using muskets. And it was to defend yourself against potential problems with the British, still.
Or tyrants of any kind.
To defend your home. But a weapon that can fire 100 bullets in a minute or two is only there to damage and kill people.
Congressman, you had a quote when you talked publicly on this. You said, "Why do I have people in my district where the only safe place for them to sleep is in their bathtub because of gun violence, because of what they suffer every single day?" What do you believe the correlation is, the connection is between significantly, in any way, changing gun laws in this nation and reducing violent crime in Newark, where we tape this program at NJTV, in Chicago, in Philadelphia, in Detroit? Do you genuinely believe there's a direct correlation? Or do you believe, as many others believe, loaded question I know, those who want to kill and maim and do violence to others are going to get guns anyway, you say?
I say that potentially is true, but we need to do everything in our power to curtail as much of that as possible. I only know one place in New Jersey where I could buy a gun, and I just happen to know because it's a sports shop, and I drive the highway, and I know it's there. These guns come from all across Route 80, up 95, from other states. And criminals, and I made the point during my conversations during that day, criminals—
You mean on the floor of Congress?
On the floor of Congress. Criminals go to other states, buy these guns at these gun shows with these loopholes, and bring them back here and sell them at a high profit.
So you're saying it's only a federal solution to this?
Absolutely. It has to be a federal solution because you can't get a gun. You cannot buy a legal gun very easily in New Jersey.
You didn't expect this question, we'll ask it anyway. 2016 presidential election, what percentage of the minority vote do you believe Hillary Clinton gets, Donald Trump gets?
I believe Secretary Clinton gets 90%.
90?
90%.
What does that leave for Donald Trump?
Not a lot.
Congressman Donald Payne is a Democrat, to be sure.
Yes.
In a great tradition of serving in Congress, which your dad did for many, many years. An extraordinary member of Congress who made such a difference in the 10th Congressional District. Thank you so much, Congressman. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Congressman, thank you so much.
Ref.
And that's it for this edition of New Jersey Capitol Report. For my colleague Steve Adubato, I'm Rafael Piraman. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next week.
Construction companies work at the heart of our communities. So do the operating engineers of Local 825, who build our roads and bridges and ensure the safe transmission of energy that keeps us on the move. Local 825 works with contractors as partners in quality, safety, and training. Our achievements stand as monuments to collaboration that will last for generations. This message has been brought to you by the members of Operating Engineers Local 825. Better building begins here.
Also brought to you by the Northward Center, New Jersey Sharing Network, and by NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan.